Hello, everyone. This is the first podcast of Chris DC2. Thank you all for joining us. And my first guest here is Mr. Eric, aka fjgear on Instagram, the creator of many magnificent Land Cruiser themed memes. We felt that, the first episode is going to be very general. We're gonna talk about our introductions and our backgrounds relevant to Toyota slash Lexus off-roading community. So how we both know each other is we both have GXs, and Eric is on GXOR. And with Southern California being such a small world in terms of the off-road community for Toyota, we just found out we knew each other through mutual friends along with GXOR. GX Off-Road, the largest GX community on Facebook with, what are we at right now? 35K members,
Wow,
would you say? Yeah.
it's a lot.
So, Eric, yeah, yeah, no, it's crazy. So Eric is a very experienced SME on the LC platform. And so he's just gonna talk about himself for a little bit, just to give you an idea where he's come from. So go ahead, Eric.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me. Um, Congratulations on recording this podcast and looking forward to seeing it online.
Yeah, no, it's exciting.
I don't know if you remember the first time we met, because we've been following each other on IG for quite some time, but the first time I met you was at was at was in Long Beach at an FJ Cruiser meet that I put together. It was several years
Yeah.
ago.
It
Yeah.
was 2019, and I remember I was really trying to push the brand back then, and I gave you my business card and stuff, and then we found out,
Yes.
and I believe I saw an Autobot sticker on your vehicle, and like, I know a guy that was with the Autobots people. His name is Dewey. Hi, Dewey Lee, if you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
there. Yeah, gosh, no, I'm trying to think which parking lot that was because it wasn't Cerritos.
It was,
It
yeah,
was
it was in Long Beach, yeah.
the
Yeah.
promenade?
I don't even
Okay.
remember. See, we typically have FJ Cruiser meets in San Gabriel Valley, but there's a community of people in Long Beach, like everyone's in Long Beach or near Long Beach, and they kept
Yes.
pushing us to do it in Long Beach. So we had a very substantial meet over there. Just a lot of people showed up, and that's where I first met you.
Great. Yeah. So, like, how long were you? Okay, so were you one of the founders of that club?
I am the moderator for the Los Angeles FJ Cruiser group on Facebook. But my background in off-roading in the Toyota world does start with a 2007 FJ Cruiser. I bought a 2007 FJ Cruiser brand new, and that's where it all started. Back in back in the day, there wasn't social media wasn't a thing, so all our meetups and social activities started via groups, forums.
Right.
The first forum was, I believe it's called FJ Cruiser Forum, or our nickname for it was the Blue Room. It's still active, I believe.
Wow. So it was like
And
a VBB style where it was
yes,
forums and up forums and stuff like that. And then, so
right.
you were the moderator on the forums.
Not a moderator. Not a, mo- I
Okay.
knew one of the moderators, but yeah,
Okay.
that's where it all started for me. And whenever there was a meet, no matter how far, I would try to go to it. And ultimately, someone started posting bighorn sheep photos on one of their off-road runs, and that's what really got me hooked. So my first overlanding trip, and we weren't even referring to it as overlanding back in 2007. It was
What
just,
what'd you
let's
call
drive
it?
out there and camp. We didn't have a name for
Let's,
it. Just go camping.
let's go camping, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was
Sure.
Old Mojave Road. There was like four, I mean, maybe six of us. I mean, our brand new FJ Cruisers, and went out
Wow.
and I had no experience. I barely went camping as a kid. Um, we were so new to it. Oh, I went there with my buddy Oliver. We were so new to it that we slept in the car because we didn't have a tent, we didn't have sleeping bags, we
Nice.
just had blankets. But what was funny
Oh,
was how it was so windy that night that everyone was struggling with their tents. And then they saw us sleeping in the car. So the next time I went camping with those guys, they were all slept in the car because they didn't want to
they're all
deal with,
geared up, just ready
yeah,
to go in the car, and they didn't even bring
right,
their tents. Got
right.
it. It was it all the time. There's like barely any families. It was all single dudes and stuff. So, in
No,
terms of space requirements, it was, yeah, you're
well,
good for that.
for me, my wife was always cool with me going on adventures on my own without her. We
Right.
I think my son was just a baby. Yeah, my son was just a baby at the time, so he wouldn't be joining us. But the group was not a bunch of bachelors. It was a mix. It was like the trail lead was an older couple from Pahrump, Nevada, and there was a former retired military guy on there. We all looked up to him, and it was totally mixed. It was just like some single guys, some there were I believe there was a guy from MIT in the group. It was
Yeah.
totally mixed, and
So,
I was really in awe with how a vehicle could bring so many diverse people together. It was so cool.
great. Awesome. So, how were the mods on the FJs at the time? Were you guys all just stock, or some maybe some tires or some lift or anything like that?
Well, our trail lead, ironically, was fully stock.
Okay.
So, but there's a handful of us with modifications. For me, I only had all-terrain tires and sliders. The other guys, they had ARB bumpers. There wasn't a huge selection of things back then.
Right.
OME was like everyone had OME something.
Because
Um,
that was like the tier one brand back then,
right,
right? Like you're the
right.
man if you had OME or anything Australian that related
Yes,
to ARB, right?
exactly, exactly. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of selection back then. Even there were you this is a this would be interesting. DeMello's FJ Cruiser was on that run. It was barely modified. DeMello wasn't on the run with us. A friend of his borrowed DeMello's FJ Cruiser, and
Oh,
even
was it
that
already
vehicle
done up?
barely, barely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So no
how
bumper, no armor or anything.
there may have been. It doesn't stand out. I don't recall, but in that's how early it was for the FJ Cruiser. There were some mods, but not a lot. Yeah.
Wow. So that's out. Was this in 2007 or was like maybe
Yes.
a couple of years after you?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So you
Yeah.
dove right into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I didn't see any wildlife. I had all my gear, and they were saying, "Okay,
Wow.
this is where the bighorn sheep," and I didn't see any. So it took me probably over a decade to run into bighorn sheep, and I ran into them in a run off the 395, but we could save that for a different story.
Yeah, yeah. So that's pretty awesome. So from that point on, were you pretty much hooked into the whole culture?
Yeah, I've done a lot throughout California, Anza Borrego, multiple 395 trips, Death Valley trips. Um, Back in the day, I would see an invite and jump on it, and throughout the years, I ultimately started leading my own trail runs. So yeah, like there was a dip in activities. I'm trying to look through my photo archive to see where I stopped taking overlanding photos.
Hmm.
But I mean, as you know, there was a huge boom in overlanding. The
Hmm.
people are saying fixing up 4x4s is the new rice.
At the
But I'm not
thing.
exactly sure when that happened, but all of a
Yeah,
sudden I woke up and every single person in my family has a 4x4.
I would say it would probably would be mid 2010s.
Okay, okay.
Would you think so? I mean, that's why when it started really, booming, with the advent of people showing it off on Instagram and social
Hmm.
media. I think that's what really like set it off. And then you got, at the time, like the only like major YouTube content was like X Overland, would you
Right.
say?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was making like just quality stuff, and now you got people left and right with freaking Osmo Pocket threes and stuff. They're pushing out high grade stuff. It's pretty crazy how technology could just make anyone just like a superstar these days.
Yeah. Definitely. It's been great because when I described to you my early trips, they were all strangers to me. I didn't know these people, and
But
I
there are,
was
but
just
there, everybody was on the same wavelength, right? Everybody
right.
was like feeling the same way about it. Like you weren't the only one, but it was just something new
Right.
for everybody, right?
Exactly.
Great.
And with
Yeah.
the new boom,
So
and when I say everyone in my family has a 4x4, that's when I started planning trips because they were all new to it. So I started planning trips, and I've almost been to every single location that I went on back in 2007, 2008, and I took them on the same exact trip through Anza and Death Valley,
so they
basically.
got hooked, and then your relatives found out what you're doing, so they wanted to experience that as
Right.
well and build their own truck and stuff.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
it's been
You
great.
know. Yeah, I mean, oh, okay. So were you like in the cars before? Were you modifying different types of cars before you got into your FJ?
No, because I was pretty broke back then.
Okay.
My first car was back in high school was a '84 Toyota Celica GTS, and I didn't have any money to fix that. All I did was chop
Yeah.
springs and buy cheap mufflers, and I would change spark plugs every 2 months, thinking I was making mods. But no, I wanted
Yeah.
to be in the cars. I just didn't have the money for it.
Did
Yeah.
you grow up in a Toyota family, hence why you got the
No, actually,
GTS?
I grew up in a Nissan family. There's
Okay.
actually a 1975 280Z rusting in my mom's backyard right now.
Dude,
I
that that,
know
that
it's
could be
sad.
what are you gonna do? You gonna
I
do something
know
about it or what?
it's rusting. So I've
Mm.
shown photos of it to people on the Z forums, and they think it's a lost cause. Well, I
Oh.
don't know. Maybe you could see it one of these days and give me some ideas. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
another money pit, right, for us?
I hear that some people just want to buy the VIN number. They don't care
Oh,
about
and
the car. They want because
yeah,
it's
just cut it off.
pre-smog. You don't need to
Okay.
smog it. It's 1975. So some people just want the VIN number.
Yeah, that's a little shady, don't you think?
I don't know. I've been
Yeah.
asked.
Okay. So going back, I mean, fast forward, what are you at right now? 17 years,
Fast.
having Toyota trucks, big part of your life. How many do you have in your stable right now?
I think I have four.
Four. Okay.
Yeah, I
Go
had
ahead, go ahead and
a
sound them off, man.
2007 FJ Cruiser,
Okay. The original
and
one?
the one that
Great.
started it all for me. Then I picked up a 1984 Land Cruiser FJ60.
Okay.
It used to belong to my brother-in-law, and he went off to the Philippines to start a business and never came back, but he left it at my house. I'm like, can I just buy this from you? So I bought it from him, and it sat for years. That's a different story. We could save it for another video.
Yeah, was
And
that the one that you sh showed off at Toyota Fest? I'm sorry.
yes, yes, it
Okay.
is. It
Great.
it took years for it to even get to that point.
Okay.
And it's still not done. And then right before the major Land Cruiser boom, I picked up a 1996 triple lock 80 series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was I got that at a pretty decent price. Again, it's still work in progress. The problem with me is, limited finances. And then when you have too many projects, you spread it thin. It's like, sometimes if I only had one project, maybe I could finish something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
the last one is it's technically for my wife because we lost our 2016 Chevy Tahoe 4x4 in an accident a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and she wanted a replacement, and I said it has to be Toyota. So we ended up with a 2017 Lexus LX 570.
Hell yeah. And that thing is gonna stay stock. Stock.
Most likely, man. We'll see.
What
I
color
don't
is that
know.
one?
It's gray. I don't know the proper names for it. Some people say it's a unicorn color. I really don't know, but it's oh no,
Okay.
no, they call it atomic silver. I think it's atomic
Okay.
silver.
No, the
Uh,
okay. I know that's a nice. It's like a bright silver, isn't it?
yeah, it's all
Got
right.
it.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a GX at one point?
No, no, I used to crash. I'm always crashing GX meetups.
Mm. Okay, so
Um,
you bamboozled me then.
I mean, you probably just because like guilty by association, hanging out with
No, I
Dewey all the
thought
time.
I thought you like rolled up in a white GX, so my apologies then.
No, it's all good.
Man, or maybe I got mixed up with Patrick's
I'm always
GXs.
lurking I am in almost all of the GX forums. I'm always
Yeah.
lurking.
Well, it's like stuff. I mean, that you could definitely carry over what people are learning on the GX. You know, perhaps you could apply to the LC, the actual LC platforms, because you know we're not a real LC SGX people. Let's face it now. Come on. So, yeah, no, I can see that. But very cool, and it was a pleasure having you host the Mojave trip last
Thank you.
year. Was it last year already? Yeah, it was already
Was
last
it?
year, wasn't
I
it?
think so, yeah. Yeah. Last
Gosh,
spring.
oh my
Yeah, that was a
gosh,
good
time
one.
flies so fast. No, it was. No, it's too bad. Too bad my freaking trailing arm fell off.
Oh,
So,
I know. I know.
gosh,
There
yeah,
was a
but you know,
lot of mishaps on that trip, but I'm
yeah, a
glad
little
we all made it
wacky.
home safe.
Yeah, and I like the ghost that we ran into during the campsite.
I'm not sure about that one. I know we had two campsites there, so I'm not really sure what you're referring to.
The one really nice campsite with the nice bathroom that actually had like actual bathroom with tile and everything. I forgot the
Okay.
name of it.
Mid Hills?
Shoot. No,
Is it?
it was a cool name. It was pretty big too. It was right in I forgot. So it was like before we got to Baker. Anyways, it was a
Yeah,
good time.
yeah, Mid Hills, I think. Mid Hills.
Yeah. So what's on the horizon for your trucks in the next 6 months? You got some cool stuff to share?
Huh. No, I'm at a point right now where I can't do anything fun at the moment. I'm in like I need to focus on maintenance. You know, there's always that time when you can't do fun stuff. You have to focus on the maintenance side of things. So like
Yeah.
almost all the vehicles need some maintenance. The FJ60's at a point where I almost could take it anywhere, but I'm having issues getting the AC fixed. So the weather's been awful. So
Mhm.
I'm not gonna go on a trip if it's freaking triple digits and I don't have AC.
Yeah. No, I'm not even gonna
Um,
bother. I'm gonna, if anything, wait till September, if that,
right,
October. Even though
exactly.
there, you know, you got the big meteor shower going on right
I
now.
know per set.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was thinking about possibly going to Joshua Tree on Monday
yeah.
night or something like. Well, so it's supposed to be what 10th through the 12th where it's supposed to peak out.
Right, yeah. You're not gonna be alone if you go. There's
Yeah,
gonna be a
that's for
lot of
sure.
people. Yeah.
What do you usually go out there to watch the shower?
The last time I saw that meteor shower, I went to Hungry Valley because the
Wow.
Rangers had an organized event for it. It wasn't I there wasn't a lot, let me just say that. But yeah, I would go. It gets pretty dark over at Hungry Valley in Gorman,
Mm,
and
got it.
it's closer for me.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
Everything's just
but
so expensive to do these days. So,
right. But
I don't know.
basically, as far as the vehicle's concerned, I'm in maintenance mode, and I'm I'm trying to not put too much money in LX 570, but I do want some crossbars. So that that that
Mm.
that that whole vehicle's on a different page because there's not a lot of aftermarket for it, and
Even to
which
this
might be good.
day.
Right.
Even though it's a discontinued series, they already moved on to the 300 and then the 250. I don't know. I would say the 300 maybe is the real Land Cruiser, but
Hmm.
then again, the 250 is not too shabby either, which
Right.
we'll briefly touched on in a little bit. And so, well, exciting. I wouldn't say it's like the maintenance phase. You're just doing the adulting phase right now for your
Yes.
trucks, being
Yeah.
responsible. So, but it's just what you got to do to keep these things running forever, right?
Right. Right. So
Yeah,
how
that
about you,
reminds me.
Chris?
What about me? Okay, where do I begin in terms of the off-roading segment? Okay, so I did get my GX in 2016, January 2016, but it wasn't my first like stint of like experiencing off-road with Toyotas. A funny thing, I'm not sure if I told you this, that back in 96, my dad bought a brand new Lexus LX 450, and it was a
Ooh.
two-tone color. It was that champagne color, right?
Right.
And I think the correct me if I'm wrong, but the lower claddings were silver.
Yeah.
So
Most likely.
yeah, and then like, I was like, I was a spoiled kid at the time. I'm not gonna lie and stuff. So I was like so fascinated with all the options that came with with the vehicle and stuff. So I was like looking at the dealer sheet and stuff like that, and I noticed there's this thing called a lock differential, and I go, Dad, what's lock differential? And he's like, I don't know, but we don't need that. And so it didn't come, but it wasn't triple locked or anything like, those unicorns that you see out there. So that was pretty cool. That was like my first instance with it, and that was like the same, like around the same time Notorious Big
Oh, right.
came out
Right.
with Hypnotize, and
Yeah.
he said LX 4.5. So like,
Right.
every time I like try to borrow the car, like me and my friends will play it like that. And then like I remember like in 2000, my parents were big gamblers, so we would go to Vegas all the time. And then one time I drove my sister and brother-in-law to Vegas in the LX 450 and
Oh,
stuff. And that was this is 2000. I was like 21. I was an idiot at the time. So I always, every time we would drive by Barstow, Linwood Road with the Del
yes.
Taco and the outlets and stuff, and I would
Right.
always notice, what is that outlet center drive, right? Let's go check it out in the LX 450. And so I drove there. I drove to the big area, like the staging area where all the dirt bikes and all the trailers, they camp and stuff. And they're just like looking at us funny because like maybe it was the truck. No one seen a Lexus off road around there or something. And unbeknownst to me, I went on a little road, a little straightaway that was going along the road to the outlet center drive. And I didn't know it was a testing section for the pre-runners and stuff. So I was just going all out, had no like idea of like throttle control and off-road driving. I mean, I was driving fixed up Hondas back then, so the whole dynamic was totally different. So when we hit some whoops, we caught some air in that thing. I remember seeing my brother-in-law, he wasn't buckled in behind us, and his back like just slammed against the ceiling and stuff when we landed and stuff. So I think I lost a center cap on the wheels at the time, and it was like I think the wheels were chrome, the chrome 5-spoke wheels and stuff.
Right.
Lost that. I don't know. I think I lied to my parents at the time. Sorry, guys.
At least you're in the right
Um,
vehicle for it.
yeah, no, that thing held up. It was nice, but I didn't know what I was doing half the time,
Mm.
But so that was my first instance, and then like I drove Hondas for like 16 years thereafter, and then I had a little life-changing moment in the around 2015 where I just wanted to turn a totally different chapter and, try something different. So I wanted a Forerunner TRD Pro and the sand color, quicksand. Yeah. I wanted a quicksand TRD Pro. And then I'm thinking, gosh, that thing is $45,000, which is like, what's the new one going for now? 70, 80?
That
They're up
Land
there.
Cruiser 250 starts at 56, 57.
No, no, no. The new Forerunner TRD Pro
Oh,
that's supposed to be coming out.
oh, right, right.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, gosh. And then I stumbled upon this site called J120.com or something, or it was like a 120 chassis. It's a specific BBB form.
Hmm.
And I noticed it was all Forerunners because that's what I originally went there for Forerunner information, what you could do. And then I saw this little section called GX 470 at the time and GX 460. And like just for comparison, I think like the main Forerunner form had like, I don't know, it was like 10,000 posts or whatever, right? And then like the little GX for 71 had like 1,000 and stuff. So there's like it was like a ghost town in there. But that's when I found out that forwarder stuff could change over vice versa. And then I wanted something different. And I like the V8 appeal for the Lexus. So joined that, fast forward, found, gosh, lifted Lexus on Facebook,
Hmm.
and this was a precursor to GXOR, and that was like, yeah, that was 2016. And I guess there was a falling out with the administrator and the moderator. And
Okay.
I believe Dan was a moderator. He's probably going to correct me or whatever. All right, Dan. And the administrator, there was a falling out. So Dan left. Well, the administrator, he actually closed Lipton Lexus. And then Dan started GXOR, and that was around had to be like 2017 or 2018 or something. And then it was like 400 members for initially, and it just freaking blew up and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like, I threw some method wheels on there, some NVs and silver and some Nitto trail grapplers, which I still think they're great tires and stuff. 285, 7017, Icon Stage 5 kit. And then got the thing in Cypress Pearl because I really like that green color. And I didn't know at the time that was a really rare color and stuff. So got that at Toyota of Oxnard. So I took a train from OC
Oh,
over
wow.
there, gave them a check, and then, just drove the thing home. And I was just so surprised how powerful. I wouldn't say powerful, but it had a lot of juice on it and stuff. It
Right.
was nice to have low ends after driving Hondas forever and stuff. So yeah, that was the thing. And then I remember like my first outing was going to Glamis. It's a
Okay.
i5 kit, yeah, and the tires on and stuff. And I thought I was gonna rip it, right? But I didn't know anything, and then I didn't air down the tires, so it was at like 35 pounds, and I was just like wondering why am I going so slow and why is it so hard? But then like I still need to go back there with it properly aired down. So yeah, and then fast forward, next thing you know, like opened up a GXO Southern California. And long story short, it was because I was disagreeing with another Facebook group and stuff, and he didn't like my attitude apparently. So I said, basically, F this, I'm going to start my own GX group. And then, yeah, I was a little catty about it, but hey, I guess it turned out well. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, and then that's why I eventually ran into you and stuff because all we do is just talk about Toyotas and Lexus. It's a
Right.
big part of
Right.
our lives and stuff. So yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot more details and stuff, but we could say that for other episodes as well.
For sure.
But yeah, with our backgrounds and stuff. I mean, Southern California, if you're from around here, it's just one of those things where you're just gonna eventually, if you go to meets and you go to the popular trails, you're gonna run into the same people sooner or later and stuff. So
Right.
Eric is one of them. He's a great guy, and it was a good guy to have in your corner, especially.
Thank you.
So yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think right now it's just the often discussed topic is the 250 series, the new Land Cruiser that just came out. The what chassis are they calling it? TNGA F?
F. Yes.
F. So it's the F
Yes.
platform that's shared on the Land Cruiser GX, Tacoma, Forerunner, and I'm
I
missing
think the
one more,
Tundra.
right? Tundra. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but there's no like variation. They're all F platforms, the T and GA,
Right.
right? I
Probably
don't
on
know
the
off the top
referring.
of my head. Do you know what TNGA stands for again? I
Toyo
can't
Global
think of.
something something. Yeah.
There you go. That'll work for now. See, like, yeah, on this show, I mean, we're gonna try to keep it pretty casual and stuff, but if we have to get technical, we'll go on our internets and we'll look it up. But we just want to keep it casual. So, what do you think, man? What do you think about the new Land Cruiser?
I don't know if you know this, but I had a deposit on it,
Okay.
and I
Wait.
withdrew my
When did you put
fund.
the deposit? Did you put
I
it
knew
right when
about
they announced
I
it?
right when they announced it, I was in contact with a salesperson, and I knew more about it than he did. He didn't
Okay.
even know about the announcement or when it was going to be available for a deposit, but I
Wait,
was
what month and year was this? Was this last
it
year?
was late fall, sometime fall
Okay.
or yeah, fall last year.
Okay, so they announced it. You went to the dealer, or you called him or whatever.
Oh, he's been on my speed dial for a while for other vehicles.
Okay.
But yeah, I put money down, but after the big reveal and all the details and again when we were thinking about Chevy Tahoe replacement, it just didn't fit the bill. But but if I didn't have anything, I would have picked that vehicle for sure, you
Okay.
know. But since I have other vehicles to beat up on, I didn't necessarily feel I needed that Land Cruiser on my driveway because I have other things to mess with.
Well, what's their daily right now, though?
It's funny, I actually jump in whatever car has gas.
Okay.
See the reason my household doesn't really need a fuel efficient vehicle, which the 250 would have been because it's a hybrid. Because my wife and I both work from home, so we don't really care about MPG at the moment, knock on wood. But
Yeah.
yeah, so but that vehicle, you and I just discussed communities, the GXOR community, the FJ Cruiser
Mhm.
community, and I'm 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 lurking in the Land Cruiser 250 communities on Facebook, and I'm just seeing it's like deja vu, seeing how people are getting to
Whole
know each
evolution
other.
and yeah.
Yeah, they're asking about the basic questions. Can I fit 35s and what where or they're trying to sell parts that everyone already has. Like you want to buy my rims, but everyone on that forum has the same freaking rims. But it's just funny, and it's just a birth of a new community. These people love their vehicles, whether, the FJ Cruiser had several haters and they still do. But and this community, this new Land Cruiser is not absent of that. They have lots of people not liking the LC 250 for
There's
several
always
reasons.
gonna be like the
Always.
same archetypes in every single car community. You're
Right.
gonna you're gonna get the pessimistic people, you're gonna get like the newcomers that are totally like great attitude. They just want to go all in and just,
Right.
max out their credit cards to
Totally.
be, the one. Yeah, so it's funny. Yeah, every single car community, it doesn't matter if it's a Toyota or if it's off-road or it's a tuner, you're always going to get the same archetype. So sorry, go
Right.
on.
No, no, I totally agree. But again, if I didn't have anything else on my driveway, I would have totally picked up the LC 250. It's a very exciting vehicle. That whole concept, and I want your opinion on this. The first thing people hated on the LC 250 was the fact that it was a four banger. And
Yeah.
everyone kept saying it's a four banger, it's not a eight cylinder, but they would never mention how much torque and H horsepower this vehicle
Yeah.
has. So
So what are
tell me what you think about that.
yeah, so now the okay, 465 foot-pounds of torque, and that's what the 48 horsepower electric motor, right?
All right.
I think it's just the way how I see it is that these people who do not like it just because it's a four-cylinder have never driven a car with 465 foot-pounds of torque, regardless if it's a four or an eight. And it's so crazy the peak torque numbers. I mean, they're usually coming on at like around 18 to 2100. So it's instantaneously. And it's just, yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I think like at this point, numbers are on the table. It's proven itself to make good power. Toyota always does good on things. I mean, they're already cleaning up the the V6 issue right now. But I mean, they'll make things right, but we could see that for another episode right now. But I
Right.
think like, it's it's Land Cruiser. They know how much of an it means to them, the name. It's a venerable name worldwide. They can't mess this up, and you know they're gonna prove a lot of people wrong. I have faith in the Turbo 4. I get it. It's not a cool V8. It doesn't sound as cool, but it's not some crazy power. I mean, like, come on now. And it's not a full-on EV. I mean, it's it'll do the job very well.
And I think as soon as someone crosses 200,000 miles, people will say, oh, maybe it's not so bad. And when they start crossing 300,000 miles, maybe everyone will shut up. Maybe.
Yeah,
Because
no.
that's what's expected. Everyone wants to know, everyone knows that past versions of the Land Cruiser have hit like 500,000. And I
Yeah.
think that's what it'll take to get this LC up there. The other problem people have with the LC 250, the people that know, a lot of people know that this is labeled a Prado overseas.
Okay.
But I think the comparison no longer applies. The Prado was basically a GX similar to the FJ Cruiser, similar to the Foreigner, the 150
Right.
platform you're referring to, right? But that's all erased. Everything's on that TGNAF platform, and it's like a
Hmm.
variation. So how you perceive these brands, the Prado is not, it's like a gray area because
Yeah.
the 300 series is on the same platform
Hmm.
as the Prado and the rest of them. So
Right.
how can you criticize? The only difference is, I mean, for crying out loud, the 300 series is not even a V8 either, you
Yeah.
know?
Twin turbo I mean, if you put that out as a Land Cruiser, they'll be bitching about the V6.
Right,
So it's
right,
like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And at the same time, these people are so critical. They want the Land Cruiser to be 60K, made in Japan,
right,
with the twin turbo V8 or something. It's not
right,
gonna
right.
happen these days. It
Exactly.
just no, just freaking wake up, As much as we want it, of course, yeah. But no, you can't do that. It's just
But
not
but
gonna.
did they accomplish that though? I mean, yeah, the LX 570 was a six-figure vehicle when it was new.
Right.
And the Land Cruiser version, the 200 series, was like 90-ish. So they came out with this
Yeah.
1958 trim level on the new Land Cruiser 250, which is in the mid 50s, like 56, 57.
Right.
Have you seen it at RPM?
Yes. Hi, Steve. Did see Steve's Land Cruiser 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, okay, sub 60, made in Japan, and they threw they put almost everything that consumers wanted. They wanted the Land Cruiser to be smaller, more modular, more friendly to mods and stuff like that, more utility. And they went back to the roots and stuff. But people are
Right,
still complaining because it's got a
right,
four-cylinder. But like I mean, 465 foot-pounds of torque. I mean,
right,
I'm doing fine with 323 and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, and people in FJ Cruisers were doing just fine. No one talks about how there's the freaking minivan V6 in the Jeep all the time, and so it's like, yeah, you just can't satisfy everybody. But if you start making a product that's going to satisfy everyone, your product is just going to be boring and just like look like everyone else's. So
right,
Toyota's going
right,
to do what they're going to do and stuff that separates themselves from the other brands. And so I think give it a year or so, people are going to calm down, just like with anything that's new that comes out.
right. The
Yeah.
one thing that really stood out in the recent news is, again, I've been lurking on the LC 250 Facebook groups for a while now. They're actually in other states outside of California, there you can buy it below MSRP.
That's what I'm seeing too. Like I wonder if like it's hurting they're hurting to sell vehicles and stuff. I mean, personally, I'm looking at Type R's right now and I'm seeing the same thing outside of California. They're selling
Really?
them for MSRP or lower and stuff. So, but then like, consumers have such a big selection for vehicles in that price range.
Right, right.
So,
And the
yeah, it's
interest rate's so
crazy,
bad.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and everybody is just buckling down and not sure where the economy is going to go and how interest rates are. I mean, yeah, today, including today, I mean, it just Japan we had a crazy drop on the Dow
Oh,
stuff. So,
I don't even want to look at my portfolio right now.
yeah, no, no, like, it's like I've been wanting to go to Japan and stuff. So I was monitoring the yen to dollar exchange rate, and it was hovering around like 157. I think it peaked out at 160 a couple of weeks ago. Look at it today, it's at 144. It's nuts. So I think it's just people are just like they don't want to buy cars right now, especially with the interest rates. But it's great to know that these markups and ADMs and stuff are starting to calm down, and these dealers can't be as greedy as they are if they want to put
Right,
food on the table.
right,
So
right.
it's going back to buyer's market for buyer's market.
At least outside of California.
Yeah, I'm willing to drive to Arizona or Nevada and stuff like that.
Sure,
You
why
see a
not?
whole lot
Yeah,
too. So, make a trip out of it. I mean,
right.
I don't know why people are so scared to drive so far for a car and stuff. So, it's their loss. But yeah, no, I would like the Land Cruiser. I mean, personally, I'm totally happy with my GX or what it does for me. So, I mean, Land Cruiser would be cool, but I'll have to start all over again for another 20K or whatever, if not worse, at the thing. But I don't know. I think it's a great selection, and then like I'm very curious to see how the Forerunner is going to be too. That's going to
Oh
be pretty
yeah,
exciting too. Yeah.
which has been
So
delayed.
what happened?
The- I don't know, they just had to delay the release of the Foreigner, so we might have to wait till next year to see it.
Well, I mean, consumers have a plenty of selection. They got the Tundra. They got the
Right.
freaking Land Cruiser. They got like a Tacoma
GX 550.
550 too, which is that thing. Actually, no, yeah, I'm so sorry. I would pick a 550 over a Land Cruiser because the V6. I mean, but then,
Right.
I gotta keep it real with the GX and stuff. But those are being marked up. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I
So,
wanted to change when I decided to let go of the LC 250, I wanted to change gears to the 550, but when I called up my dealership or a dealership, they said it was a 2-year wait list.
no
Uh,
kidding. How long
yeah,
ago was that? Did you have that conversation?
like 2 months ago. But that was
So,
at Longo Lexus. I mean, if you want to pay markup, then you don't have to wait that long, obviously. But if you want to pay MSRP, then they said it was a 2-year wait list.
right. Yeah. No, my cousin wanted to get a Supra. There was like a 1 year wait list for that.
Mm,
So then again, it's long ago. So yeah, no, I think it's just people are gonna start really picking them up pretty soon. I mean, everything's gonna just be slow at first and stuff. And yeah, people getting into off-roading and overlanding right now, I would say compared to 10 years ago or so, they got it real easy with all the selections that they have
oh
now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got the Bronco, you got the Grenadier, you got Toyotas lined up, what we just talked about. I mean, it's crazy now.
Even the Gladiator, you know, I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with Jeeps, but I like looking at a built Gladiator, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, my friend Chris in Long Range America, he has a Gladiator with the shell in the back of
Mm,
some crazy Australian brand that he sells. Shout out to Chris at Long Range America, if you're watching this. Yeah, it's just possibilities are just there's so much selection out there, and it's nice that it's saturated in a way that, people have a lot more options and stuff to
right,
depending on their budget and what type of overlanding and off-roading that they want to do.
right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with us before we wrap it up?
No, I think this was an awesome session. Thanks, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, no, thank you for being on the show and stuff. And then, feel free to leave comments on what you want to hear more out of these podcasts. If it's anything that we talked about today, or if there's any other topics, Toyota or off-road or overland related, I'll be happy to chime in, and perhaps I'll have Eric on future episodes as well. So thank you
That'd
very
be
much,
great.
everyone. Yeah, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Cut. All right. Hey, that was